Xiangqi involves several tactics common to games in the chess family. Some common ones are briefly discussed here. In a fork, one piece attacks two or more enemy pieces at once. A piece is pinned when it cannot move without exposing a more important piece to capture. Every piece except soldiers and advisors can pin, but only chariot pins exactly resemble pins in Western chess. Pins by other pieces in Xiangqi take on many unique forms. Cannons can pin two pieces at once on one file or rank, horses can pin because they can be blocked, and generals can pin because of the flying general move rule. In pins by horses and elephants, the pinning piece never attacks the pinned piece, while in a pin by a cannon, only one of the pieces is directly attacked by the cannon. A general can only pin pieces to the enemy general, and the pinning general can never capture the pinned piece, since that would place it in check from the enemy general. A piece is skewered when it is attacked and, by moving, exposes a less important piece to be captured. In contrast to pins, only cannons and chariots can skewer. A discovered check occurs when an attacking piece moves so that it unblocks a line for a chariot, cannon, and/or horse to check the enemy general. A double check occurs when two pieces simultaneously threaten the enemy general. Unlike a Western chess double check, a double check in Xiangqi may be blockable or, in one case, possibly met with a capture by a piece other than the general. The only blockable cases are either a chariot and cannon on the same file as the general, with the chariot acting as a screen for the cannon. Two horses giving discovered check after another piece unblocks the attack from both, or a cannon using an enemy piece as a platform uncovered by a horse. See below. Double checks delivered by other means are not blockable. In one exceptional case, if a horse moves to give a double check by uncovering a cannon, and the cannon's platform is an enemy chariot or defensive piece, advisor or elephant, the enemy chariot or defensive piece might be able to capture the horse, which removes the cannon's platform at the same time. Otherwise, capturing either checking piece is insufficient to remove the threat, unless the general makes the capture. Unique to Xiangqi is a triple check, which arises in 4 combinations. In the first case of a cannon, a chariot or soldier, and a horse, the horse moves to give check, uncovering a double check from the chariot and the cannon. In the second, rarer case of a chariot or soldier and 2 horses, the chariot moves to give check, uncovering a double check from the 2 horses. In the third case of 2 cannons and 2 horses, one cannon may uncover a double check from the horses and act as a screen for the other cannon. Finally, a chariot or soldier can move to give check, uncovering a check from a horse while acting as a platform for a cannon to give another check. Quadruple check is also possible, arising with 2 horses, a chariot, and a cannon. Triple and quadruple check cannot be blocked or met by captures, again, unless the general makes the capture. In contrast to the ubiquity of pawn chains in Western chess, soldiers typically do not support each other until the endgame. Because from the initial position it takes a minimum of 5 moves of a soldier to allow mutual protection between 2 of them, and they are often prone to capture by other pieces. Soldiers, horses, cannons and chariots can form up formations that protect each other. However, lining up chariots must be done with caution, as this risks losing one chariot to an enemy's inferior piece. Horses that support each other are called linked horses, Chinese, Lian Huan Ma, which is a relatively safe formation of the horses, though it can still be threatened with a soldier. A chariot plus another minor piece, or a piece blocking one of the horses, thus making the protection one-sided. It is common to use cannons independently to control particular ranks and files. Using a cannon to control the middle file is often considered vital strategy, because it pins pieces such as the advisors and elephants to the general, which in turn restrict their general's movement. The two files adjacent to the middle file are also considered important, and horses and chariots can be used to push for checkmate there. Since the general is usually safest in its original position before the endgame phase. Attacking the general commonly involves forcing the general out of its original position with check or with threats. Thus, specific points and formations are very important in Xiangqi. For an attacking, red, horse, the most fatal points are C9 and G9, Chinese, Wo Sao Ma, especially since without proper defense a quick mate can follow with an extra chariot or cannon. Liang vs. Zhao, 1982. Due to the pin of two pieces by the red cannon, black's centroid horse has become a liability rather than an asset. For a cannon, one of the most fatal formations is the exposed cannon, Chinese Kong Shin Pao, where the cannon directly controls the middle file with no other pieces between the cannon and the general. This formation is particularly dangerous since the defensive side cannot move any piece in front of the cannon. While with an extra cannon joining the attack, mate can follow on the spot, and with an extra rook, the offensive side can mount a double check, with the rook in front of the cannon, followed by a windmill, as when the check is blocked. The rook moving laterally discovers a new check from the cannon, often winning at least a piece afterwards. If the defensive side cannot chase the cannon away or capture it, it must move the general forward to avoid these threats, leaving the general vulnerable to attacks. Another fatal formation, called the cannon-controlled centroid horse, Chinese Pao Zhen Wo Xin Ma, diagram at right, also requires particularly bad coordination of the enemy pieces. In the diagram, black's centroid horse occupies the center of the palace, blocking black's own general and advisors, and being pinned to the general by the red cannon, cannot move. Black's cannon at E8 is also pinned to its own general. It too is unable to move and restricts the movement of black's two elephants, making them unable to protect each other. Such a formation in the middle game often produces deadly threats of smothered mates, while in the endgame, as in the diagram, red's cannon cannot be chased away, rendering black's general, advisors, cannon on E8, and horse all permanently immobilized. Even though black is up a minor piece, red has a clear win. The game concluded 41. HG7, forking the elephant and pinned cannon and creating a mating threat, e.g. 1042. HH9 C943. HF8 plus CF9, if not for the other black cannon, it is instant mate, 44. HXG6. And black resigned. Black's only active piece, the cannon on F9, is absolutely helpless to stop red's horse and soldiers, which will soon invade the palace. A common defensive configuration is to leave the general at its starting position, deploy one advisor and one elephant on the 2 points directly in front of the general, and to leave the other advisor and elephant in their starting positions to the side of the general. In this setup, the advisor and elephant pairs support each other, and the general is immune from attacks by cannons. Losing any defensive pieces makes the general vulnerable to cannon attack, and the setup may need to be abandoned. The defender may move defensive pieces away from the general, or even sacrifice them intentionally, to ward off attack by a cannon. Long sequences of checks leading to mate or gain of material are common both in chess compositions and in actual play. A skilled Xiangqi player would often have to calculate several steps, or even tens of steps ahead for a forced sequence. In the diagram on the right, black has an immediate mating threat which cannot be parried, forcing red to check black on every move. Although it requires 11 moves to mate, its general idea is clear. Induce a smothered check by sacrificing a chariot at the center of the palace, e9, then force black to open the center file, enabling the red general to assist the attack. And finally mate by facing generals.